So on September the 19th, Huawei will finally draw back the curtain on its fresh new Mate 30 handsets, and I'm going to be there in person to get my grubby mitts all over them. Of course, the whole build-up excitement has been clouded under a haze of uncertainty over the whole Google-Huawei relationship, but regardless of the final software, you know that hardware is going to be some cutting-edge tech. I'm still a huge fan of the Mate 30's predecessors, last year's Mate 20 handsets, and the big daddy of the family, the Mate 20 Pro, holds up impressively well a full year on. I've been using the Huawei Mate 20 Pro as my full-time personal phone on and off for the past 12 months, and this week I once again returned to it and wasn't surprised to find that I still love it as much as I did a whole year ago. And so to celebrate the imminent launch of those Mate 30 handsets, here's my full re-review of the Mate 20 Pro 12 months on. And for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first up, I've got to say I'm impressed by how fresh this phone still looks, considering I often just chuck it in my backpack for trips and the like. The screen is definitely scratched up a fair bit, so I would highly recommend slapping on a protector, but that back end is still pleasingly pristine. Not to mention a bit of a stunner as well, even 1 year on. That gradient design has definitely aged very well indeed, and stands out from the crowd just as it did at launch, even though Huawei has used a similar styling for its other flagship phones, and plenty of other imitators have popped up. And the Mate is a tough bugger as well. My handset has face-planted hard flaws from well over a meter and lived to tell the tale, not a crack or chip in sight. The Mate 20 Pro definitely doesn't feel as crazy big as it did about 12 months ago either. It's obviously been dwarfed by the likes of the Note 10 Plus, the OnePlus 7 Pro, stuff like that in the meantime. And of course you get those bonus one-handed features to really help out as well. Stuff like the incredible shrinking desktops and plenty of gesture support, tools which are basically part of the Emotion UI 9 launcher, which is stuck on top of Android Pie. Huawei's been pretty good with those Emotion UI updates here on the Mate 20 Pro, and touch wood, the security patches have been reasonably up to date as well. And of course I'm looking forward to the MIUI 10 beta as well, which will be hitting the Mate 20 Pro later this month. You can see my rundown of some of the best new features for an idea of what's in store, including a sexy new dark mode and various privacy updates. And the Mate 20 Pro is also one of the select Android 10 beta handsets, so hopefully we'll see an update to the latest version of Google's OS very shortly. Now of course, as I previously mentioned, the whole Huawei-Google relationship is more strained right now than a chubby kid's elasticated undercrackers, so we'll have to wait and see what the future of Huawei and Android really hold in store. But enough of all that, flipping back to the hardware, and the Mate 20 Pro serves up a gorgeous 6.4-inch OLED screen with Quad HD Plus resolution, making it even sharper than the more recent P30 Pro's display. This panel compares very favourably to any other smartphone screen in late 2019, blasting out bright, punchy images with sharp contrast and of course full HDR support for the likes of Netflix. Although, yeah, that notch is a proper beast, so you won't want to zoom in any further for sure. The Mate 20 Pro was among the first batch of phones to pack an in-display fingerprint sensor as well, and at first I wasn't really a fan. That scanner seemed to need recalibrating every few weeks, otherwise it would get really unresponsive, but weirdly in recent times, perhaps thanks to some Huawei update shenanigans, it's been absolutely fine, seems to work straight away, first time. Bosh, in you go. And of course that front-facing camera is still spot on. It's 3D face recognition, so it works an absolute treat, even if you're wearing sunnies or something like that, the kind of thing that usually flummoxes smartphones with the old face recognition. As for audio, the stereo speaker setup means crisp, clear audio pumped mostly at your face, something that the P30 Pro ditched as it lost that top earpiece entirely. But of course there is no bloody headphone jack on the Mate, so you're stuck with Bluetooth or the dreaded dongle. And unfortunately that is pretty standard amongst premium smartphones in 2019. Now Huawei may have just launched the snazzy new Kirin 990 platform ready for the Mate 30 mobiles, but the Kirin 980 crammed inside of the Mate 20 Pro is still a winner. With 6 gigs of RAM on board, this beast deals effortlessly with everything you chuck its way, with the sprightly spring of a fresh new handset. On top of that, you've got the GPU Turbo feature, which is supported by a growing number of games, including fan favourites like Arena of Valor, and of course a tasty spot of PUBG. This helps to maintain a smooth frame rate at all times with nary a judder, no matter how many fools you cap in the face. And after plenty of relentless use over the past 12 months, the Mate 20 Pro's battery is holding up nicely as well. The 4200 milliamp capacity means it's one of the biggest batteries you'll find in any standard flagship phone, and you'll really struggle to drain it by the end of a day, even if you absolutely abuse the living shit out of this thing. Few smartphones can also match the Mate 20 Pro when it comes to recharge, and even a full year on. That 40-watt supercharge is still crazy quick, almost filling you up in just an hour, and the reverse wireless charging feature has of course been aped by the likes of Samsung in 2019. 2019 for sharing power with your accessories and other phones as well. Of course, one of the best bits of the Mate 20 Pro at launch was that triple lens camera tech, showcased in a rather peculiar square housing. At least it was peculiar at the time, until the likes of Motorola and Apple ripped off the idea. 12 months ago, this was one of the very first triple lens shooters, kind of hard to believe now, offering a wide angle and telephoto alternative to that 40 megapixel primary snapper. Rivals quickly nixed the idea, of course, but the Mate 20 Pro is still one of the most impressive smartphones around for photo capture. That portrait mode is simply stunning for family pics, while the flexible arrangement means you can adapt to any situation instantly. And yeah, the night mode is still strong enough to rival any other handset, capturing beautiful low light shots. Unfortunately, things do fall apart a wee bit on the video front. Image stabilization is an improvement over the dire P20 series, but you'll definitely notice some jankiness around the edges when moving about the place, while the likes of Sony's Xperia 1 and Samsung's Galaxy S10 series offer greater control of your video capture, so the Mate 20 Pro seems rather basic in comparison. That's definitely one of the very few areas where the Mate 20 Pro fails to impress. I've got to say, 1 year on, it is still a solid all-round handset that has definitely stood the test of time. These days you can grab it for just 500 quid SIM-free, making it an affordable alternative to many other flagship handsets. And with the Mate 30 series just around the corner, that price may dip even further into proper bargain territory. So that's what I think of the Mate 20 Pro a full year after the launch, and with the Mate 30 Pro hovering there on the horizon. Obviously, if you're after the very latest and greatest tech, you'll probably want to hang on and see what the Mate 30 series has to offer. But if you're after a flagship standard handset at a more affordable price point, then the Mate 20 Pro is definitely a winner. So if you've got the Mate 20 Pro, you've been using it for the past year, definitely bung your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you still getting on with it well? It'd be great to hear your own experiences. Or are you tempted by the Mate 20 Pro still? Definitely bung it all down below. And for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell, and stay tuned for lots of sexy Mate 30 goodness. Love you!